Right, one of the things to do in a new city is try to take a tour around the city to get a feeling for the place, and Groningen is doing no exception. Today we're on a boat. I'm not sure we're going to get many great video shots on the boat because of all the glass and everything. But that's the Groningen Museum over there, over the water, and we'll see how much we take on the boat. But what they do have is a cafe.
Yeah. Well, it's the weather isn't fabulous. It'd be much better if the weather was gorgeous, but actually it's not a bad day. The boat is pretty full. We thought we were going to have problems getting seats, but we're fine. We just witnessed some man banging his head on the roof, so as a warning, the roof is pretty low, but it's a lovely, comfy boat. And as Scott says, we might be able to get a bit of an old breeze as well if we actually want one.
How perfect.
Yeah, so rock on boat. Looking forward to it.
Die Brücke, die sich jetzt öffnet, ist die Museumsbrücke. Rechts neben der Brücke steht das frühere Groninger Museum.
The bridge opening for us now is the Museumbrug, or Museum Bridge. It is named after the old Museum of Groningen, next to the bridge on the right. On both sides you can find many warehouses. They are mainly granaries because Groningen used to have the staple right of the north. This means that all grain that was grown in the surrounding land had to be brought to Groningen.
In de andere reling zit het wapen van Groningen.
Im anderen Geländer sehen Sie das Wappen von Groningen.
In the other railing, you can find the coat of arms of Groningen.
Well, that's the boat trip done. This is the Groningen Museum. Now let's explore the town.
Just tried to give this to 3 people.
All right.
Tried to give it to them over there, they didn't want it. Tried to give it to the people behind it, they didn't want it. So no idea where our soup is going to be.
So you're not very impressed with the Groningen Museum
The
service?
has been so good.
If you're on TripAdvisor, what would you give the service so far?
So far, I would call it exciting.
Okay.
And a little bit mysterious.
All right.
Yeah. No idea what's going to end up where.
Well, the food did eventually arrive.
A bit of an anticlimax. We actually got the soup that we ordered, so that's nice. And Scott is about to have the mustard soup, which apparently is a speciality here in Groningen. And I'm having potato and truffle, and we've treated ourselves to some bitterballen
All right,
as
this
well.
is a typical bar snack over here. Yeah, there's not more to say really. Got mustard on the side, and I've got mustard in the soup.
Yep.
Hopefully not mustard in the water. So, what do you think of the boat trip?
Oh, I thought the boat trip was very good. I thought it was extremely good value for money. Yeah, lots of really interesting things in Groningen that we have now learned. One of the things which was quite interesting, we found out why Groningen is such a wealthy city, and it would appear that all of the grain for the north had to come through Groningen, and it was either used here or then distributed. And as a result of that, there was something like 70 breweries here. So that might account for the fact that there's lots and lots of beautiful buildings.
Not
and
drunkards,
lots of
you
money.
mean?
Well, there may have been an awful lot more than 70 drunkards, but 70 breweries is an awful lot of breweries. Another thing we learned, and we may film later on, is that the houses or the buildings all have lots and lots of windows, and apparently that's a defensive thing. Not quite sure how defensive it is unless you've got your whole family in there lobbing things out of variously different windows that people are trying to get into your house. If your family is six windows, 6 bags of bricks, whatever the heck, that'll defend your house. So that is unusual to have so many windows in houses, and maybe we'll see that later on our walk.
Yeah, and also on the boat, we thought a tour around the single, the defensive canal, would be as dull as Leiden is. I'm not saying it's dull in Leiden, but there's not a lot going on. But we visited harbours, lots of history. It was quite amazing. Very, very impressed with the Well, I suppose you can't rate the town on its history because the history just happens to a town. But there's a lot to see on from the round trip boat anyway.
And we'd certainly recommend Groningen as a place for people to come and spend some time. It's actually really nice.
Yeah. Right, we just found that the cafe we're in at the moment is giving these away. So we're going to start a tour of Groningen, guided by this. And here we go. So, very exciting. This is the 97 metre tall Martini Toren. 311 steps up there. I wonder how I know that. This is amazing. This is one of the... I asked DeepSeek AI what we should see in Groningen, and they said find a courtyard, a little hofje. And this is one of them. It's a very different style from ones we've seen elsewhere, and I'm going to walk through this alleyway and find one which is much more traditional.
Yeah, it's certainly a slightly different hofje, but it's absolutely beautiful. And we can see that it's attached to the side of a church when we were walking down. So whereas a lot of the ones in the Netherlands were donated by, shall we say, wealthy patrons, this one looks as if it's part of church property. And we might have a look at the front of the church when we go out.
These are the people who made it nice again, I assume. In 1991. And this is the front. It actually extends, we were inside, but it extends right down this street. Oh, and this is the church that maybe you were talking about.
Yeah.
Just down the bottom there is a place called the Forum, which has got the tourist information centre within it. And there's a lot of places to eat and drink on the left here. So we're in a place called the Forum, and this is quite a cool wooden representation of the inner city. And we're going to go just over there, just to get some tourism information done. Yeah, one of my annoying nerdiness points is I'm really into flags, and the flag of this province is beautiful. Not going to buy the book, I do like the flag.
Okay, here's an interesting Dutch phenomenon, something that was picked up from the US. Here it's called snack hoek, which means snack corner, and there is a big chain of these called Fabo, and what they are is, I think, something you probably find in the 50s in the US. You put in your money and you open a drawer and you take out ready-made food.
Do you have a closer look?
Yeah, it's something that if you come to the Netherlands, everyone should do it at least once, and it won't kill you.
Eierbal. Suggests a bowl full of egg.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Egg roll.
And you put your money in there, press and pull the tray, and out comes the snack. And this is the one that I always suspect the croquettes that come out of this brand are full of eyeballs and lips, because the meat is always undefinable.
Vanavond is er een voorstelling hier in de A-kerk. Hier hangt een bord met een QR-code erop en een website. Want daar kunt u nog gratis zich voor aanmelden. Vanavond om 8 uur bent u van harte welkom in de kerk. En dan wil ik nu de heren, de dames, de jongeren allemaal ontzettend hartelijk bedanken. Hartstikke gedaan. En u ook heel erg bedankt voor uw komst hier.
Corenburg market. I think it's a good use of space, a perfect location for Albert Heijn.
Yeah. That's behind the renewable Budweiser lorry. That's quite a nice building as well. And I'm just going to go wide and just show. Yeah, this is the end of the Akkerhof, and I'll put on subtitles what the name of this open space is called, because I can't see a sign that tells us what this is. But we'll do some research in arrears. Although you've already had the subtitles, I can see on that grey building with Tuhur on it that this is called Fiskmarkt, the fish market, and this is this is apt because this is a fish stand on the fish market. Oftentimes you'll see squares and streets which don't have what they originally were intended for in the title, but this is a fish market that still sells fish, so that's a nice bit of continuity. And beneath all the legs they seem to offer fish and chips, but well, we'll see about that. I bet it's not fish and chips we know and love.
Well, as you know, we're pottering around Groningen today, and I was just commenting on the fact there's lots of really lovely looking buildings, and they're actually quite grand buildings, as you can see. Here's yet another one. A very impressive town, and we like it, don't we?
Yeah, we do, and one thing I do like about it is it's very unclaustrophobic. There's so many huge open spaces. When you're in other sort of traditional Dutch towns, it's all alleyways and narrow canals. But this is very wide.
Yep,
I can't really put my finger on it, but it's a wide town.
It's a wide town.
Mm. Well, they described this, didn't you? How did they describe this? An ambassadorial street.
Yes, it seems ambassadorial, and it's absolutely piquing my interest in Groningen, because looking at these houses, it suggests that there's been a lot of money here for hundreds of years, and I'm just curious to know what the trade was or what it was that brought so much wealth to this part of the country, because to me this is on a par with The Hague and Amsterdam when it comes to grand buildings. So I'm very curious.
Right, we're at the minibieb where we drop off the books for Groningen. And this is a lovely location. We're just at the edge of the city, the old city boundaries. And Bernadette, perhaps you would like to dispense with the books and explain maybe each one why we have deposited it thus.
Here are some of the books that we're going to put into these little minibieb. This is Margaret Atwood, who will be familiar to everyone. She has written The Handmaid's Tale amongst other amazing books, and unfortunately The Handmaid's Tale is turning out to be a little bit truer than people might originally have thought, so hey ho. No politics. But anyway, short stories, fabulous. Mills and Boon's book.
Nothing else to say about that, okay.
And this is a book called The Chiseled Giraffe by an author called Alexander McCall Smith. And he wrote a detective series based in Botswana. It's the #1 ladies detective agency. Again, a really sweet book, very beautifully written book. Lots of information about Botswana because he had spent a lot of time out there, so he's very respectful of Botswana and he writes beautifully about it. Detox.
Okay, did you ever detox with that handbook?
No, I never did. Probably one of those things that I bought and just never actually
Detoxed.
Yeah.
And that's one of mine. I think, a boy was successfully raised.
The boy was very successfully raised. He's now in his mid-20s.
Well, at time of recording, could be any age at the time of watching.
He's in his mid-20s and successfully raised, and he's an absolutely lovely boy.
Okay, is that our last book?
And that is indeed our last.
So here are the beds. Did you say we got a balcony?
Yeah, this is the balcony out here.
All right. But we have a view of the station area and some traffic, but it's quite quiet, not too bad.
It's very interesting because what we have here is a full bath, and then behind we have 2 doors. One of them is into a shower.
Okay.
That's that one there.
Let's try Exhibit A. Okay.
And we are.
Very adequate.
Yep. And the next one is the loo.
Ooh, have a look at the loo.
Yep. You kind of, when you've seen one loo, you've probably seen them all.
Well, I haven't seen this loo, to be fair to other lavatories. Just trying the lights.
Yeah, to see if I can find the loo light, but it
The
looks
loo
like
light.
the loo light doesn't work.
No, oh well.
Hey ho, never mind. Not a big deal.
We can shine out like a shaft of gold when all around is darkness.
There you go.